Hello traders, Greg here with a market update. One word, wow. Precious metals have been causing absolute chaos and havoc in markets. Look, in the last, for a long time now, we've seen a raging bull market, both gold and silver. But in the last few weeks, they have been going vertical, just up in a straight line, making obviously new record highs almost daily, weekly basis. But look, when anything goes up vertical, obviously then you start to worry, because eventually when you do get a retracement, that retracement can be vicious. And we have had given you warnings and to be cautious about what was going on. On Friday, there was actually some signs already technically. Gold did have a big bearish outside range day. Silver actually had a bearish key reversal day. So there were a couple of tech warnings, but anyway, last night finally we saw a massive retracement. So gold, fell $300 from high to low. Silver did $4. They ended up down. Silver down a whopping 7%. Gold down a whopping 5%. So these are moves that we haven't seen for a very long time. Last time gold did something like this was back in 2013. Moves that you rarely see. But in any case, look, none of this, there was no news that came out that triggered this event last night. It basically, look, when you have markets that, you have positioning that is heavily skewed one side, and obviously for gold and silver, the market was heavily skewed long. For those markets to keep going up, you need fresh buyers. Obviously, there was a lack of fresh buyers. You see some profit taking come in, and then the end result is what you got overnight. So look, at the moment, these moves are, obviously been very violent. There's probably a bit of blood on the street as well. So I'd remain very cautious as well. Running in, buying the dip at the moment is probably something that I wouldn't advise. Look, technically, gold and silver. Gold, the support, you got some rising trendline support that comes in just above 4,000. And with silver about $2 lower, around about 46.60. So look, we could see another leg lower before technically we see some good support. And no doubt at the moment there's probably some longs topside that can't wait to get out. So if we did see some sort of rally, no doubt we'd probably see some sellers coming in. But the key takeaway is you got to be cautious and you got to use stop losses, because obviously the ranges and the moves are quite violent. Okay, moving on to equities. US equities really didn't do a lot last night. S&P, Nasdaq pretty much closed square, but Dow did make a record high close overnight. US and S&P and Nasdaq are pretty much stone's throw from record high. We haven't seen too much volatility to start the week there, but the market is focusing on third quarter earnings season. There was some Netflix earnings after the bell. It was a small miss there, but didn't really bother the market too much. The big one will be after the bell tonight, and that is going to be Tesla. And on earnings, that sometimes can be up 5%, down 5%. Huge moves can move the index as well, so I'd watch out for that. The other thing is that sometimes when you get a lot of volatility in one asset class, you can get some cross asset market volatility. So with US equities now, even though yes, raging bull market, we are up at elevated levels. Certainly it's going to need something to take the next leg higher. Bias, like I would not be running in fresh long at these levels at the moment. But the big one is obviously going to be US CPI at the end of the week. If we do get a number that comes out above expectations, I think equities probably will get smashed. But we've got a couple of days to wait for that. Moving on to the currency space, it's probably one of the trickiest markets for a while now. The US dollar really has just range traded, tracked sideways for a few months now. Haven't seen a directional move up or down, but lately The US dollar has actually found some shine, it's found some legs, even with the Fed cutting rates and looking to cut rates, and market thinking that the short USD trade beyond, that has not worked out. So a little bit cautious at the moment, because yes, if you look at the dollar index, it does look like potentially wants to go back to 100. So yes, with dollar at the moment, it does look bid across the board. Inflation numbers, we did have some last night out in Canada that came out slightly above expectations, and traders have paired back Bank of Canada rate cut for end of year. But the big one tonight is going to be UK CPI, potentially headline back 4%. That's not good. So if we do get a run of countries sort of CPI going above expectations, market's probably going to get a bit worried going to the US CPI on Friday. But look, we've got some pretty volatile markets, obviously precious metals and massive focus. So the key takeaways, we said before, you've got to be cautious, use stops, maybe lighten the positions a little bit. Other than that, good luck, and we'll check back in with you soon.